The Galactic Council chamber was never silent. It was usually filled with voices, debates, arguments, and long speeches that lasted hours. But today, as a new warning alert flashed across the ceiling, the entire room fell completely still. A trembling hologram flickered into existence above the center table. Unidentified object detected. Size, class unknown. The words glowed bright red. Representatives from 17 alien species rose to their feet. Their faces, some scaled, some feathered, some glowing with bioluminescent nerves, tightened in fear. Counselor Theros, an elderly member with pale silver skin, swallowed hard. What do we know so far? His assistant, shaking, opened a new data screen. We received a message from the outer listening station. It lasted only 30 seconds before the station went dark. The aliens exchanged worried looks. Listening stations never went dark. Not unless something powerful passed nearby. Something enormous. The assistant continued, voice cracking. The last scan shows an object moving through deep space. Its size is... He hesitated. Counselor Vexlara snapped, "Speak! We must know. It is 4 times larger than our biggest dreadnought." Gasps filled the room. One representative dropped his data tablet. Another stepped backward in shock. "No ship of that size exists," Counselor Theros whispered. "Not in our fleets, not in any empire." The assistant forced himself to read more. The object emits a gravitational field strong enough to push satellites out of orbit. A silence spread through the chamber like cold smoke. "What kind of engine can do that?" someone asked. Another counselor replied, voice tense. "No engine known to the galaxy." The idea sank into everyone's mind at once. This was not an ordinary ship. This was something beyond anything the galaxy had built in centuries. Suddenly, the final audio message from the destroyed listening station played. Static, sparks, screams. Then one terrified voice. "It's human. Gods help us, it's human." The recording cut off. Counselor Vexlara staggered backward. "Impossible. Humans have no such technology." Counselor Theros shook his head slowly. "Humans left galactic space hundreds of years ago. They were weak, poor, disorganized." "Yes," another added quickly, "they fought among themselves. They had no unity, no advanced ships. They could barely hold a colony for 50 years. "Exactly!" Vexlara shouted. "So how could they build a Titan-class vessel?" A cold fear washed over the room. If the signal was correct, if the unknown ship was truly human, then humanity had developed in secret, quietly, far from the galaxy's eyes, and now they were returning, with a ship large enough to erase planets. Counselor Reddick, a tall reptilian elder, slammed his fist on the table. "We must assume this is hostile. Humans have never forgotten how we ignored them. They asked for council membership. We denied them. They asked for help during their solar storms. We refused. They asked for protection from pirates. We turned away." His voice lowered. "What if they have returned for revenge?" Some representatives nodded fearfully. "Yes, humans hold grudges. Yes, humans do not forget insults. They are emotional creatures, unstable." But Counselor Theros raised his hand. "We cannot assume war. We must attempt communication." Another counselor shouted, "Communication? With a Titan-class ship that destroyed a listening station just by passing near it? That thing is a moving planet." Theros spoke more calmly. "If humans have created such a vessel, destroying it would be impossible. Our weapons would not even scratch it." The truth of his words tightened every throat in the chamber. If humans wanted to destroy the galaxy, they had the power to do it. After a long, tense silence, the council president finally spoke. "We must not act out of fear. We will send a fleet of interceptors. They will approach carefully. They will attempt peaceful contact, if possible. They must discover why humans have returned, and if they cannot stop the vessel." Vexlara asked. The president hesitated. "Then they must delay it long enough for our defensive rings to activate." A murmur spread among the group. Everyone knew the truth. Their defensive rings, giant weapons across the capital, would not stop a ship of this size. But the council needed to pretend. They needed to feel safe, even if safety was an illusion. Outside in the launch bay, sleek interceptor ships prepared for departure, pilots strapped into their seats, trembling with fear. Engineers whispered prayers. Commanders reviewed last-minute instructions. One pilot asked quietly, Do humans really have a ship that big?" a senior officer replied with a hollow voice. If the signal is true, yes. And what are our chances? The officer did not answer. He simply closed his eyes. The interceptors launched into the void, leaving bright trails behind them. They headed toward the unknown object, toward the thing the galaxy feared, toward humanity's Titan-class warship. Back in the council chamber, Theros stared at the holograms showing the interceptors' path. He whispered softly, "We may be sending them to their deaths." Counselor Reddick nodded grimly. If humans have truly built a Titan ship, then the galaxy faces a power it cannot understand. Another added, or a threat we cannot defeat. No one in the chamber realized the truth. Not yet. Humanity hadn't come to conquer. They hadn't come for revenge. They hadn't come to make demands. They had come with a purpose far greater and far more terrifying. Because humans never build something powerful without a reason, and the reason behind the Titan-class warship would shake the galaxy forever. The interceptor fleet moved through the cold emptiness of space with silent engines and heavy fear. There were 19 ships in total, small, sharp, fast, and armed with the best weapons the Galactic Council could build. But none of the pilots felt brave today. Every one of them kept staring at the same thing on their screens, a gigantic dark shape ahead. At first it looked like a moon, round, massive, unmoving, but as the fleet came closer, details slowly appeared. It was no moon, it was no space station, it was a ship, and not just any ship, a ship big enough to cast shadows across kilometers of empty space. The pilots struggled to breathe. The scale of the object was overwhelming. Is that really human technology? One whispered. Humans can't build something like this, another said, voice shaking. But they were wrong, very wrong, as the interceptors approached. Within 30,000 kilometers, the silent monster ahead suddenly came to life. Panels shifted along its hull, massive armored plates sliding away like the opening of a fortress gate. Bright blue energy pulsed under the hull, glowing like rivers of lightning. The ship's engines activated with a deep, powerful vibration that shook even the distant interceptors. The pilots grabbed their controls tightly. What kind of engines are those? Our scanners can't read them. They're bending gravity. This shouldn't be possible. Then, for the first time, the full shape of the ship became visible. A long, thick central body, titanic wings stretching outward like the arms of a god. Hundreds, maybe thousands of cannons placed along its surface, a command tower shaped like a rising blade. No empire in the galaxy had built anything remotely close, but across the hull, written in sharp glowing letters, was a name, Titan-class Warship Horizon, property of humanity. The interceptors froze. It's truly human. And we insulted these people. We said they were primitives. The pilots felt sick. Their fear doubled. A sudden beep echoed through every ship, their communication systems activated on their own. A voice spoke, calm, firm, human. This is the Titan-class warship Horizon. Humanity returns with purpose. Do not interfere. The voice was not angry. It was not threatening. It was not boastful. It was simply confident. The aliens listened in stunned silence. That voice, it sounds so controlled. They aren't afraid of us. No, worse, they don't even consider us a threat. The message ended, but the Titan ship did not lock weapons. It did nothing. It just sat in space, glowing with silent power. And that calmness terrified the interceptors more than any attack. The lead interceptor captain, a veteran named Jorik, tried to steady his breath. He turned on his transmitter. Horizon, this is Captain Jorik of the Galactic Council Interceptor Fleet. State your purpose in this sector. Silence. Horizon, repeat. State your purpose. More silence. The Horizon didn't respond, but the pilots could see something strange. The Titan ship rotated slowly, aligning itself not toward the interceptors, but toward the Council's capital system. Jorik's heart nearly stopped. They're heading straight for the Council core worlds, one pilot whispered in terror. Why would humans come here? Why now? Another replied. Maybe they want revenge for the past, but Jorik shook his head. No. If they wanted revenge, our fleets would already be gone. And he was right. If the Titan warship wanted to destroy them, it could do so instantly. There was no reason for hesitation. As the interceptors moved to block the ship's path, something unbelievable happened. The Horizon didn't fire weapons. It didn't send threats. It didn't accelerate. Instead, the ship's gravity field shifted. The interceptors were pushed aside. Gently, smoothly, without any damage, it was as if the human warship simply willed them to move. The alien pilots screamed in shock. What is this? We're being pushed. Our engines, they're not responding. Jorik checked his controls. We aren't being attacked. We're being relocated. A pilot stuttered. Humans can move ships with gravity alone? How powerful have they become? No one had an answer. The horizon continued moving, slow and steady, emitting no aggression. One alien said softly, "This is not a warship. It is a moving planet," another replied. "Humans created this, alone, without help." The pilots felt small, insignificant, powerless. Jorik finally called out, "Horizon, we request communication. We need answers." This time a reply came, but only one line: "Stand aside. We search for our lost people." The fleet froze. "Lost people?" Jorik whispered, "What does that mean? Why would humans bring a Titan ship just to search for missing citizens?" Then it hit them. Humans had always been strange, emotional, determined, protective. If one human was in danger, 100 more would come running. And if a colony was in danger, then humanity would send a Titan. Back at the council chamber, panic began spreading. The interceptors sent a final report. The Titan-class warship Horizon seeks a missing human colony ship. We cannot stop them. We cannot slow them. We cannot touch them. Silence followed. Counselor Theros whispered, "They came. Not to conquer, but to protect," Vexlara replied. "And they built something beyond the power of our entire galaxy, just to save their people." Every elder in the chamber trembled. "Then we were wrong," another whispered, "horribly wrong. Humans are not weak. Humans are not primitive. They are something far more terrifying." Theros finished the sentence. "Humans are loyal," and that loyalty was now heading toward the heart of the galaxy, with a Titan at its command. The Titan-class human warship Horizon continued its silent journey toward the center of Council-controlled space. Its engines glowed like blue suns, pushing the massive ship forward with slow but unstoppable momentum. Every few seconds, its gravitational field pulsed gently, bending nearby starlight like ripples through water. To the horizon, space itself made room. To the alien interceptors, this was terrifying. Captain Jorik's small interceptor ship shook as the human vessel passed by. Even at a distance, the horizon's gravitational wake felt like a giant, invisible hand dragging them across space. "Stabilizers to maximum," Jorik ordered. His crew obeyed instantly, but the small ship still trembled. "This is insane," his co-pilot muttered. "Humans built this alone?" No one had an answer. The Council had not given up hope of controlling the situation. Inside the flagship interceptor, 3 alien diplomats prepared to speak. Their robes shimmered, their crowns glowed softly, but their hands shook with fear. Ambassador Valari tried to steady herself as she activated the communication screen. "Open channel to the human vessel," she said. The officer nodded. A moment later, the Horizon answered, not with visuals, not with holograms. Only a single line of text appeared on every interceptor screen. "Humanity returns with purpose. State your business." Ambassador Valari coughed nervously. "This is the Galactic Council diplomatic delegation. Human vessel, please identify the reason you are entering core space." A pause, then a voice, calm, masculine, confident, replied, "We are searching for our missing colony ship." "Stand aside." The diplomats exchanged alarmed looks. "Missing colony ship? Since when did humans have colonies near council space? Since when did humans have fleets large enough to protect these colonies? And why did they return now?" Ambassador Valari tried again. "Human vessel Horizon, you are not authorized to enter council territory. We request—" She didn't finish. The air in the room changed sharply as Horizon's voice returned. "Request denied. Silence. No alien ever denied a council diplomat. Not like that. Not with such ease. Not with such confidence." Seeing diplomacy fail, Captain Jorik stepped in. "All interceptors, move to interception coordinates. Formation Delta -9. 19 alien ships moved together, forming a wide defensive line in front of the horizon. Their weapons were not charged. No one wanted a war, but their positions made the message clear. Do not pass. Jorik turned on his transmitter. Horizon, this is Captain Jorik. You are entering restricted, council space. Turn back or you will be forced to stop. Another pause. Then the human voice returned, still calm. We do not wish conflict, but we will not turn back. Our people are missing. One of Jorik's pilots whispered. Why do humans care this much? Why build a ship like this just to find lost colonists? Another answered softly. Because humans protect their own. The horizon continued moving forward, slowly but directly toward the blockade. Hold positions! Jorik shouted. Do not fire unless necessary. The alien pilots stayed still, but fear filled their eyes. Captain, if that thing rams us, it won't, Jorik said. It's too big. Even humans aren't stupid enough to risk this ship. He was wrong. The horizon didn't slow down, didn't change direction, didn't communicate. It simply kept coming as it approached the blockade. The alien ships shook violently. Gravitational field increasing, an officer yelled. It's overwhelming our systems. Boost stabilizers can't. We're losing control. Jorik slammed his fist on the console. Horizon, stop your approach. No response. Then, just as the horizon reached the blockade, something unbelievable happened. The ship didn't fire, didn't threaten, didn't destroy. Instead, the gravitational field around the Titan shifted gently. Every alien interceptor was pushed aside, calmly, smoothly, as if moved by a soft breeze. Ships drifted out of formation like leaves floating on water. Not one was damaged, not one was harmed, not one could resist. Historians would later call it the most polite defeat in the galaxy. Captain Jorik stared in disbelief as his ship drifted kilometers away from the blockade line. They were not even fighting us, he whispered. A pilot shouted, we didn't lose a battle. We never even had one. Another added, they moved us, like toys. The horizon sailed through the broken blockade without slowing. No violence, no destruction, just pure technological superiority inside the flagship interceptor. Ambassador Valari collapsed into her chair. This cannot be real, she whispered. Humans were simple, primitive, poor. Another diplomat shook his head. No, we were wrong. Humans were not weak. They were growing, quietly, silently. And now, he pointed to the massive ship on the screen. Now they have returned. A third diplomat trembled. If they can move fleets without weapons, what else can they do? Back at the council chamber, the interceptor's final message arrived. Captain Jorik's voice was soft, defeated, but honest. Council, we cannot stop the human warship. We cannot slow it. We cannot negotiate with it. It moves us at will. If this is only one human ship, then the galaxy is not ready. The message ended. Silence fell over the chamber again. Counselor Theros whispered the new truth. Humanity did not return for war. But if war comes, no one here can survive them. Counselor Vexlara added, trembling. This is no longer a diplomatic issue. This is the rise of a new power, and everyone knew it. The galaxy had changed forever. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Diplomats shouted over one another. Advisors panicked. Some representatives demanded retreat, others demanded war, and many simply trembled in silence. The Titan-class human warship Horizon was still moving toward the Council's core system, ignoring every blockade, every command, every threat. But now, the Council decided to make one final attempt to stop it. A massive fleet of 70 warships, destroyers, cruisers, and 2 heavy dreadnoughts, was deployed. It was the largest emergency fleet gathering in the Council's history. The fleet formed a giant defensive wall across the star system's entrance. On every screen, the same words appeared. Stand and defend. The Council President lifted her trembling voice. We cannot allow humanity to pass. They must answer to us. Counselor Theros shook his head. They do not need to answer to anyone, but no one listened. Thousands of alien crew members watched as the horizon approached. Even from millions of kilometers away, the human ship appeared huge, too big, too solid, too godlike. On the bridge of a council dreadnought, Admiral Kethar hissed, "How can any species build something this size?" His second officer whispered back, Some say humans vanished from galactic politics for centuries because they were building these. Kethar exhaled slowly. Let us pra. They built only one. But deep inside, he knew the truth. Only a powerful, united civilization could build something like this. And humans were nothing if not united when their people were threatened. A communication officer turned. Admiral, the human ship is approaching weapons range. Kethar gripped the armrest. Prepare all channels. Open negotiation. A hollow screen flickered, showing the horizon silhouette, glowing blue, calm, unmoving. Admiral Kethar spoke clearly. Human vessel horizon. You are entering restricted council space. This is your final warning. Turn back. At first, nothing happened. Then the horizon sent a return signal. A giant hologram suddenly formed in the center of the council chamber, towering, clear, impossible to ignore. It showed human diplomats standing in a vast white hall. Their faces were calm, their expressions steady. No fear, no anger, only quiet strength. One human diplomat stepped forward and spoke. We do not seek war. The chamber fell silent. We are here to retrieve our missing people. Murmurs rose across the room. The human continued, move your fleets or we will move them for you. We will not ask again. The chamber froze. Alien representatives stared at one another with disbelief and dread. The council president whispered, They are threatening war? Councilor Theros answered, no, this is not a threat. This is a promise. The chamber erupted into shouting. They can't speak to us this way. We are the ruling body of the galaxy. We cannot let humans disrespect our authority. But others argued. Did you see the size of that ship? They moved interceptors without firing a weapon. We cannot win against that technology. One elder trembled violently. If this is just one ship, what else do humans have? No one wanted to imagine the answer. Back at the blockade line, Admiral Kethar received the essay. Me message. He swallowed hard. They said they will move us. The second officer whispered, Admiral, we should retreat. No, Kethar said, although fear shook his voice. If we retreat, the council falls apart. He opened his channel again. Horizon, we cannot allow you to pass. We will use force if necessary. Silence. The horizon didn't reply. Instead, it slowed. Energy pulsed across its hull. Panels opened. Massive structures rose from its surface like awakening giants. Our scanners cannot identify those constructs, the officer yelled. Are they weapons? Another shouted. No readings, no data, nothing. Admiral Kethar's blood ran cold. Prepare shields. Suddenly a soft, humming sound filled space. The gravity around the horizon changed. Dreadnought sensors screamed warnings. Gravitational spike. Field expansion. Kethar braced for attack. But what the horizon did next was something no alien had imagined. The Titan ship released a massive wave, not deadly, not hostile, not violent. Instead, it passed through the alien fleet like a soft breeze. Every ship, every cruiser, every destroyer, every dreadnought was gently pushed aside, moved, repositioned, relocated, exactly like toys floating in a giant cosmic river. No damage, no harm, no aggression, pure, overwhelming control. Admiral Kethar watched in disbelief as his entire battle line drifted miles off course. This is impossible, he whispered. We have no defense against such power. One officer trembled. They defeated the largest fleet in our history with a single pulse. Another whispered, what happens if they choose to use real weapons? The silence that followed was suffocating. When the council saw the live footage, many representatives collapsed into their chairs. They moved dreadnoughts like dust. Our weapons cannot stop them. We angered the wrong species. The council press. Iden's voice shook. What is humanity now? What have they become? Councilor Theros spoke quietly. Humanity has surpassed us by centuries. Their technology is beyond understanding. Their power cannot be challenged. And yet, he pointed at the hologram. They did not attack. The room fell quiet. They did not destroy our fleet. They did not fire a weapon. They only asked us to move, and we refused, another added, terrified. All eyes turned to the giant hologram of the horizon, slowly passing through the broken blockade. The Titan ship didn't even look back. It wasn't afraid. It wasn't angry. It had no reason to speak again. It simply continued its mission, searching for its missing people. Councilor Theros whispered the truth the entire galaxy would soon learn. Humans do not want war. But if war comes, the galaxy will not survive them. And somewhere deep inside every council member, a new fear was born. If this is only one Titan-class ship, how many more have humans built? The Titan-class human warship Horizon moved steadily toward a dark nebula at the edge of council space. Its engines shone brightly, but around it all else was silent, the kind of silence that only existed in places the galaxy feared. This nebula was known as the Grave Mist. Ships disappeared there. Pilots vanished without a trace. No empire dared to explore it, but the Horizon was not afraid. Reports from the Council said that a small human colony ship had last been detected near this region before vanishing. It had sent one final message: "We are under attack. We need help." And then nothing. The Council dismissed it as unimportant. Humans were not their responsibility, but humanity never forgot. That was why the Horizon had come. Far behind the horizon, hidden near the nebula's gas clouds, several Council observation ships followed quietly. They used camouflage fields and long-range scanners, careful not to reveal themselves. Admiral Kethar stood on his command deck, eyes fixed on the massive Titan ship. "What are they planning?" he murmured. His second officer replied, "We believe they are searching for their missing colonists." "But why bring a warship?" Kethar asked. "Why bring something this powerful?" The officer hesitated. "Perhaps humans do not know the meaning of small mission." Kethar shook his head slowly. "No, there is something more." As the Horizon entered the nebula, thick purple and blue clouds surrounded the ship. Lightning flashed inside the mist. Sensors from the Council ships struggled to read anything through the interference. Suddenly, alarms rang on all scanners. Multiple signatures were approaching fast. "Admiral!" an officer yelled. "Hundreds of ships are coming out of the nebula." Kethar's eyes widened. Pirates. These were not simple raiders. These were the Ash Claw pirates, one of the most brutal groups in deep space, known for slaughtering crews and stealing ships to sell for parts. Their vessels looked like floating bones, covered in scrap metal and glowing red light. Hundreds of them surrounded the Horizon, tightening a deadly circle. The Council crew trembled. "They will attack the humans. They'll try to board the Titan ship. They will steal everything." Admiral Kethar closed his eyes. "This is the moment. If humans attack back, we will see the true power of that warship." The pirate ships rushed forward like hungry wolves. Blasters fired red beams. Torpedoes shot toward the Horizon. Boarding claws extended from pirate ships, ready to latch onto human hull metal. The Council expected the Horizon to fire, to unleash its full power, to wipe out the entire pirate fleet. They braced for a massive explosion, but nothing happened. The Horizon didn't shoot, didn't activate shields, didn't even turn its guns toward the pirates. Instead, every weapon on the Titan ship stayed offline. The Council officers stared in shock. What are they doing? Why aren't humans defending themselves? Have they gone mad? Admiral Kethar knew the answer even before he spoke. They don't see the pirates as a threat, just as the pirates. Closed in, the Horizon made its first move. Panels opened along the warship's sides, but instead of missiles or cannons, hundreds of rescue drones poured out. Small silver spheres flew into the mist, spreading like a school of fish. They did not head toward the pirate ships. They went deeper into the nebula, searching. The Council officers gasped. They aren't fighting, they're rescuing. They came here for people, not for war. Admiral Kethar felt a heavy truth sink into his heart. The Titan ship was not built for conquest, he whispered. It was built to protect. Within minutes, a rescue drone beeped. Drone 47 has found something, a Council operator reported. A giant hologram displayed a damaged human colony ship, small, cracked, and drifting aimlessly through the mist. Its hull was scarred from battles, its engines were dead, its lights flickered weakly. Inside, dozens of humans lay unconscious, starving, injured, weak. Admiral Kethar listened as the Horizon's voice broadcast. "We found them, all crew alive. Begin retrieval." The drones began cutting open doors, stabilizing oxygen and carrying survivors out gently. Each drone glowed blue to signal vital signs were stabilizing. The pirate ships continued to attack. Yet the Horizon did not fire once. It simply ignored them. The pirate weapons struck the Horizon's hull and bounced off harmlessly like raindrops hitting stone. The Horizon's gravity field deflected every attack. The pirates soon realized something terrifying. The human Titan ship could not be harmed. And worse, it did not care about them. To predators, nothing was more frightening than prey that wasn't afraid. Panic spread through the pirate fleet. Fall back. This thing is invincible. We can't fight this. Within minutes, hundreds of pirate ships retreated into the nebula, fleeing like frightened animals. Admiral Cathar watched them run. The pirates attacked. And humans didn't fight back, he whispered. They ignored them because the pirates were not important. The second officer nodded. To humans, saving their people was more important than destroying enemies. Cathar exhaled deeply. We have misunderstood them for centuries. The Horizon retrieved the last survivor. Drones returned home. Panels closed. Engines brightened. Then humanity sent one final message on an open channel heard across all Council ships. Our mission is complete. Do not interfere again, and remember this. Humanity builds weapons not to conquer, but to ensure no one is left behind. The Council ships remained frozen. They had expected a monster, a conqueror, a destroyer. Instead, they witnessed something far more terrifying, a protector with the power of a god. And in that moment, Admiral Cathar whispered the truth the galaxy would soon fear. Humanity is not dangerous because they destroy. Humanity is dangerous because they save. The enormous Titan, class human warship Horizon, floated in open space, glowing like a newborn star. Its rescue drones had returned. The damaged human colony ship was now secured inside its hangar. And for the first time in weeks, the survivors slept safely. Inside the Council's hidden observation ship, silence ruled. Admiral Cathar watched the Titan through the viewing screen, his hands shaking slightly. They saved their people, he whispered. That was all they wanted. The second officer nodded slowly. We tried to stop them, and they still never attacked us. Cathar closed his eyes. Because humans do not waste time on enemies. Only on goals. He finally understood. Humanity was not the threat the Council feared. Humanity was something far more dangerous, a species driven by loyalty. Suddenly, all Council ships received an incoming transmission. The hologram flickered to life across dozens of bridges and command rooms, showing a human captain, strong posture, calm eyes, and the quiet authority of someone who had seen battles no one else could imagine. He spoke clearly. This is the Titan-class warship Horizon. Our mission here is complete. Council crews held their break. We will now depart. Do not interfere with our people again. The human paused, letting silence fill the chamber. And remember, humanity answers when its own are in danger, always. The message ended, the hologram faded, no threats, no insults, no demands, only a promise the galaxy would never forget. The Horizon began powering its engines. Blue energy veins crawled across the hull. Space around the Titan rippled like water. Stars bent out of alignment. Council scientists watching the screens gasped. That is not warp technology. That is not hyperspace. That is impossible. The ship's engines created a gravitational bubble so strong that space folded around it. The Titan-class vessel didn't jump through space. It made space bend out of its way. With a blinding flash, the Horizon launched forward, then vanished. But the shockwave that followed shook every Council ship, pushing them kilometers off course. Admiral Cathar gripped the railing. What kind of power is this? His second officer answered, trembling. Power far beyond ours. Back in the Council chamber. The final message and the warp jump replayed across the holographic walls. The representatives sat frozen. No one dared speak. Finally, Elder Theros rose from his seat. His voice was soft but carried across the entire room. We have misjudged humanity. From the beginning, another representative replied in a cracked whisper. We believed they were weak, primitive, divided. A third added, we treated them as children, told them they were not ready, refused their requests for guidance, laughed at their attempts to join the Council. Elder Theros raised his eyes. Humans grew anyway. Silence fell again. They left us. They built in secret. They advanced beyond our limits, and they returned not to destroy, but to save their own people. The Council president spoke next. Yet, we tried to stop them. We tried to control them. We even prepared for war. Theros looked toward the ceiling projection of the horizon's last jump, and humanity still moved with restraint, calm, focus, not anger, not destruction. Another elder trembled. They did not harm us, but we all felt their power. Every species in the room felt the same cold truth. If humans wanted to conquer the galaxy, they already could have. No fleet could stop a Titan-class warship. No shield could deflect their gravity engines. No weapon could harm that ship. One council member whispered, "How many of these Titans does humanity possess?" Another responded, "If they have even 3, then the balance of the galaxy has changed forever." A third whispered the words no one wanted to say aloud, "If we ever threaten their people again, the galaxy will burn." Many in the room nodded slowly, not because they believed humans were cruel, but because humans were relentless. When protecting their own, they were unstoppable. Admiral Kethar arrived in the chamber hours later, still shaken from what he had witnessed. The council president stood. "Admiral, you saw the Titan ship up close. Tell us, what are we facing?" Kethar didn't hesitate. "Something greater than any empire." A murmur spread across the room. He continued, "They did not treat us as enemies. They treated us as obstacles. There is a difference." "What difference?" Someone asked. Kethar replied, "If we were enemies, we would be dead." Silence. No one argued. "The horizon did not fire a single shot," Kethar said. "They did not destroy our fleets. They simply moved us when we stood in their way. With ease," he finished with a heavy voice, "humans do not want war, but they will fight with a power we cannot match." The council debated until dawn. Fear filled each sentence. Regret soaked every word. They finally agreed on a resolution. Humanity shall no longer be classified as a minor species. Humanity shall be treated with respect. Humanity shall not be provoked. But Elder Theros added one more sentence, the sentence that would shape the new future. "And if humanity ever calls for help, we will answer." Everyone understood this was not kindness, this was survival. Far away on the horizon, humans checked on their rescued colonists. Medics worked, engineers repaired ships, children laughed again, mothers cried in relief, fathers finally slept. They didn't care about the panic they had caused. They didn't care about the fear spreading in the council. They didn't care about politics, power, or intimidation. They only cared about this. Their people were safe. And that was all that mattered. As the horizon disappeared into distant stars, one truth echoed across the galaxy. You can fight many things, but you cannot fight the loyalty of humanity. For when humans rise, they rise together, and nothing in the galaxy can stand against that.